Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code Coming Down in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coming Down. My name is Matthew. I'm joined here by my co-host Nathan.
Hey everyone.
Wow. I can't believe this thing's 3 fucking parts, dude.
Seriously, yeah. Didn't mean to psych everyone out. We did say that last week would be the conclusion of that story, and then it would be long, and we were right on one aspect. It was still long.
Truth.
Which is cool. I hope you're all enjoying it. I find it very compelling, and it's cool to get a real deep dive into just someone's experience in another culture. But yeah, it turns out just the editing on it just took so much time.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, just from now on, they can't trust us. So
it's true.
It's what it is. What it is. This is the podcast where your host will lie to you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we will psych you out from time to time. So yeah, that's yeah. So anyway, this week will be the conclusion. There's about an hour left of this story.
Oh yeah.
And this is even where it gets even wilder.
I know.
Somehow.
I don't think anyone's gonna believe us if we tell them this is where the meat of the story is. But
Yeah.
Man, it gets thick.
Yeah. Rolling around on the rickshaw was certainly insane, and that concludes that portion of our buddy's journey. But then he does more stuff. Oh boy, there goes our cat on her new toy that she loves.
It is her favorite.
Yeah, she's determined to insert herself into this intro.
She is our unofficial co-host. So.
It's true. Yeah, welcome, Winnie. Yeah, I don't know much to talk about this week. It's been this year has sucked.
Yeah. Fuck this year so far.
Yeah, Jesus. I can't even believe we're not even a month in because it has felt long and shitty.
I keep thinking it's February and it's still goddamn January, and we have an extra day in February, so...
Yeah, that's good.
Here we go.
Yeah, man. Cool thing. Yeah, we went and saw Color Out of Space.
That was so good.
So that ruled. For those who don't know, it's Nicolas Cage's new movie, but it's also a legitimate H.P. Lovecraft adaptation.
Absolutely. Very faithful to the source material.
Yeah, and yeah, it ruled. It totally ruled. It was very disorienting and uncomfortable, and
oh yeah,
but still awesome and pretty. And
they managed to pull the taffy on the suspense out to this really just fucking razor thin wire where you're just how can it possibly sustain this pitch, and it just fucking does.
Yeah, you're definitely on edge the whole time, and between the strobing lights and the color palettes that they used, and then the audio and stuff.
Yeah, the sound design that aligned with the visuals was oh god, dude.
Yeah, really put you in the space of the characters who are just going through complete disorientation and mind fuckery. So yeah, so it worked. So that movie ruled. I was glad we got to go see that down at the Hollywood Theater.
That was a treat.
Yeah, it looks like some places are doing a full run, so check your local listings. I think it's getting a limited run across the country, but I thought they were only doing one night, so we all jumped on some tickets.
Yeah, lucky that I got to go.
Yeah, but it looks like they're doing a run on it. But yeah, that was cool. Man, yeah, I don't want to drudge up all the bullshit of so far this year, but boy, it's been a tough one. So yeah, so needless to say, I smoked some cigarettes. So but look, as a good friend of mine put it, every part of recovery involves relapse. So
100%. Yeah. You've heard my fucking story.
Yeah, so I'm sort of getting back on the horse again, and I've got a new method. Shout out to friend, listener, past guest Mark, who showed me this. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a whole subreddit devoted to it, and it's this willpower training thing.
Cool.
And there's a whole process and method to it, and And so it seems highly effective, and so I got all my materials for that. I'm going to use that as well to sort of get back on the train here. But
yeah, I'd love to check it out too.
Yeah, I think everyone can benefit from it because, like, everyone sucks at willpower, right?
Yeah.
Like, self-discipline's impossible. And
absolutely. In this world of distractions, like, even just not looking at your phone all the fucking time's hard, you know?
Right, totally. Yep. So that's where I'm at, but, look, fuck me.
No, we fucking support you, dude.
Yeah, no, I know.
We love you.
Yep, I'll get there. I mean, this is like the first time I've ever made any real effort at all.
Yeah, and so you gotta fucking acknowledge that, dude. I mean,
yeah.
like you had a huge gap there where you weren't smoking, so like that's...
Yeah, I made it 23 days and then failed, and then made it a couple more days and then failed, and then made it a day and then failed again. So yeah, I had kind of a it was like, I was trying, but man, just too many things have been compounding lately, and I know that that's like just an excuse, but hey, good man. God, if you, dear listener, knew like some of the shit, and it's just like I'll get over one thing and then like another thing happens. I'm like, oh, right on, really needed that. So yeah, right on. Anyway, I won't get into it because it's a lot of just fucking me being angry. And so there's that.
Welcome to Angercast.
Yeah, seriously. Maybe I'll vent it all out someday. But as for right now, I'm good.
Well, fuck. I mean, there's plenty of story to go, so I guess we better let him get to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. My shit sucks too. So
yeah,
let's not even go there. So if you're enjoying being depressed by us sad sacks, please go check out our website. It's comingdownpod.com. You can find show notes and links to all the platforms on there, as well as links to our Patreon. And big shout out and thank you to everybody who's already donated to us. We love you guys.
Absolutely. We just got some holographic stickers in a very limited quantity, but
that's right, we've gone foil.
We'll probably, yeah, totally. Yeah, they're exclusive. But yeah, we'll fire some of those off to some listeners who have already received some rewards, and if you're interested in getting your hands on one, just join the Patreon for $1 a month. That'll get you one. But
that's
also, message us or whatever, and we'll shoot some out to you. They're pretty cool looking.
Hell yeah! And if you would like to message, or actually, the Patreon is patreon.com/comingdownpod. And if you would like to message us, that's going to be at comingdownpod on Twitter or comingdownpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear what you have to say. And if you're interested in being on the show, please let us know.
Definitely.
We'd love to have you. If you'd like to give us a rate and review on Stitcher, that would definitely help us out with visibility. Beyond that,
yeah, that's it, man. Oh, check out the website, comingdownpod.com.
Yeah.
Once again, there are even more pictures than there were previously.
Oh, right. Yeah, we should definitely mention the show notes for this episode.
Yeah, our guest has still been sending me some more pictures, and some of them pertain to the chunk that's going out this week. So, yeah, definitely go to the website, check the show notes. We've got a whole slideshow of pictures, and they're all really fantastic, really cool stuff. So, absolutely check that out. Yeah, I got nothing else, man.
Fair enough. Well, then, let's go.
All right, man, whenever you want. Okay. I think we were just flying out of Delhi.
Right. So we we are being taken to the airport by our driver, and we just kind of were having a conversation with the guy. He's an Indian gentleman, and he was pretty much retired. And this is kind of just his side job in retirement, was just being a driver for the hotel. And he said that 3 months out of the year, he goes off to the Himalayas, and he has a cave that he owns on a piece of property.
Whoa, cool!
And he just hangs out and
summer cave.
Yeah. He hangs out and he meditates for 3 months out of the year and smokes weed.
Whoa!
And that's what this dude.
That's my kind of guy.
That's what he does.
He goes on to something.
He just kind of relaxes and chills out and smokes his weed and lives in his cave for 3 months out of the year, which is
wild. And then comes back to the
New Delhi, the
insane, densely populated area, and drives folks around.
Yeah. So,
need to talk to my boss about getting this kind of arrangement.
Summer cave. Yeah.
Kind of my summer weed cave.
I only need to be high for about 3 months in the summertime.
Yeah, right.
with pay.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
So, and then we were talking to him. We got to talking to him about motorcycles, and like, there's a lot of vintage motorcycles over there, and then talking about like importing them back to the U.S. and like what kind of tricks there is to it, because they don't like to let vintage expensive things leave the country, and so you got to kind of dismantle them and ship them in separate boxes.
Oh, wow.
And then you got to take the engine out, and like, because we were like seriously discussing like, okay, well, because he was telling us about some of the bikes he had. And he had some vintage, BSAs, vintage Royal Enfields, vintage Nortons, like just some weird and rare old motorcycles. And you can get them over there for a pretty good price with the currency conversion rates. But the trick is getting them back to the United States. So you almost have to smuggle them back, kind of, dismantle them, ship them as scrap metal or parts.
Right.
So we discussed doing that. We may do that in the future. We've got his information. He seemed very receptive. We got to the airport.
So like he'd help you do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. And my friend pulled out a couple of C notes, gave them to him. Like $200 tip.
Nice.
Here you go. He gave me his little prayer, like his bead bracelet, which I thought was a nice gesture.
Oh yeah, that's really
cool.
cool.
I said, and then my friend goes, my friend has a gift for you, because we don't want to just throw this hash in the garbage.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the hash, so
I'm not about
to
like fly with it. Like no way.
Right,
no
right.
way.
Yeah, this is where you and the hash depart.
Exactly. So I palmed the hash and I shook his hand, and I was like, well, this guy smokes weed in a cave 3 months out of the year.
Right.
He's gonna smoke some hash.
Who better?
So I shook his hand, and he felt it, and like kind of like wrapped it as he unshook the hand, kind of the classic drug transaction. He palmed it himself, and he saw it, and he had a couple $100 and some hash, and he was on his way.
Nice, dude.
That's a good ride to the airport, right?
That's a good ride to the airport. Yeah. So we got on a plane in New Delhi, and we flew to Varanasi, and Varanasi is on the Ganges, the Ganga, and we my friend, I originally hadn't planned on going to Varanasi, but he said, oh no, you got to check this out, you got to see it. And
right, because this was one of the detours that he convinced you of.
Yeah,
once you joined the itinerary.
Exactly. And so we stayed in Old Varanasi, which, so near Varanasi is where the Buddha, I don't remember exactly where, but it's near Varanasi where the Buddha received enlightenment.
Oh, the Bodhi tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is just somewhere near Varanasi.
Cool.
So we were going to go check
right on.
that location out.
Yeah.
Ended up not happening because we got distracted and ended up doing other things. But
Hey, enlightenment can wait.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, if I got a bunch of lives, then whatever. I'll get there eventually.
Well, we'll just keep respawning until we get it.
Yeah, as long as I don't come back as like a flea or something.
No, always upward.
I hope so. So we got a driver from the airport. We were going to take an Uber, but then we talked to a driver, and you show him the Uber rates, and it's like, hey, you want this much, but Uber is this much, and I'll take you if you charge me this much. So the guy, it was weird, because it was like this guy, like a handler almost, and then he had a driver, and they rode together, like, I don't know, the guy was the manager, and then the driver.
Like a taxi pimp?
Something, kind of. And then, so we got in the back of the thing, and they gave us a ride to kind of close to our hotel. And our hotel was in Old Varanasi. And in Old Varanasi, it's all like narrow streets that you can only access stuff with bicycle, walking, or auto rickshaw. And we'd left our auto rickshaw behind in Jaisalmer.
Right.
That wasn't an option anymore. So basically, he drops us off kind of as close as he can get, because there's no car width streets in Old Varanasi.
Oh, wow.
You're basically walking through narrow corridors the whole way.
Fuck.
And it's a maze. Because we're talking 1,000 year. I mean, Varanasi, I think, is 4,000 years old.
Jeez.
But stuff gets covered over, rebuilt, built over.
Sure.
So, like, kind of Old Varanasi is kind of 1,000-ish. years old, if I'm not mistaken. At least the area that we were in, 500 to 1,000 years old. And so you just kind of get out of the taxi, and it's just like, well, I mean, Google Maps. There's our hotel. We just got to cut through all these little I don't know how the fuck I would have found where we were staying without Google Maps. It would be very interesting to do an adventure like this without Google Maps. Like, just saying, okay, I'm going to do this paper map and just dead reckoning.
Do they have a Thomas guide for New Delhi?
Right, so...
I mean, even when I went on tour with a band, I was like, how did bands ever tour without fucking GPS and internet and stuff? Like, fuck, man, I'm just writing down the address of the venue I'm supposed to be at and, like, pulling out my Rand McNally and fucking getting there. Like, what the fuck?
MapQuest was, like, this huge fucking revelation back when I started doing road trips.
Even then, you'd have to print that out, print out the step-by-step directions.
Yeah, it was so much
cross
better.
them out as you went through.
It was so much better than going to a gas station and buying a map and, like, fucking penciling it in, you know? Like, that shit sucks.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. So he drops us off kind of as close as he can, and we just fucking walk our happy asses through old Varanasi to our hotel. We get in our rooms. My room's on the first floor. His room was on, because he went the deluxe route, and his room was like on the fourth floor. I should have sprung the extra $15. Because they were like burning some not incense, but somebody outside was burning something, and it was just this acrid smoke just coming into my room in the middle of the night and just like burning my eyes. I couldn't sleep. Loud ass shit, just fucking people going by, because it's like, you know, you got a window, but it's like single pane, and like there's a thin wall.
Right.
And so we put our stuff in our room that first night, and then he was like, hey, let's go down to the Ghats. I want to show you the Ghats. And the Ghat, I think Ghat is like river, like burning riverbank, or burning, or burning is something like that is what Ghat means.
Okay.
So it's almost a redundancy, the burning Ghats. So the burning Ghats are where they burn the bodies of the Hindu devotees who have died.
Oh, wow.
It's on the banks of the river.
Right on the banks of the Ganges River. And so we just go walking sort of that direction towards the river.
And go towards the smell of burning bodies.
Well, and that's interesting, because he asked me...
Follow the barbecue.
he said, have you ever smelled a burning body before?
Oh, God.
And I was like, well, no, I haven't, actually, now that you bring
no, you know what? Never done that.
Never had the pleasure.
Yeah.
He said it's a strange smell. He says it's kind of a sweet smell. It's a very distinct, sweet smell. And I was like, okay, interesting. He says, you'll recognize it when you... He says, once you smell it, if you ever smell it again, you'll recognize it right away.
Sure. So
I was like, oh, okay. I'm kind of looking forward to this. This is going to be interesting.
Educational moment.
Yeah, so we kind of made our way down, and because they have monsoons and flooding, the banks aren't just like, I mean, you get it was actually kind of a low tide, sort of a low point. So you had the Ganges, and then you had like some docks that were docks kind of float up or down with the level of the river, and boats and stuff. But it was kind of muddy just by the very edge. But then it was like all rock work and like stones and steps leading way up, and there's like temples and stuff all along the top side. And it obviously flooded over all these stones during the course of the year, and so it would get up to almost near the buildings, so people could still walk along the edges of the banks, and it would be just like stone walkways and stuff. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so we just kind of walked along that way, and the riverbank kind of meanders back and forth, and the Ganges is a huge river. I mean, it's not small. And so as it kind of goes out, kind of like the bank kind of goes out a ways to where you can kind of see up the river a ways. You could see some fires burning up ahead, and he's like, that's where we're going. And I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, this is going to be interesting. And there'd be like random like feral dogs and random people walking around, because I don't care where you go in India, there's people.
Yeah.
It could be middle of the night. It could be, you think you're in some isolated place, there's just people everywhere. And so we're kind of walking along, and I mean, Varanasi is a huge city. and we're walking along, and there's this group of guys, like younger guys, probably teenagers, 20-somethings. And my friend's kind of walking ahead of me a little ways, and then these two guys come up to me. He's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "You need anything?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He says, "You want some hash? You want some weed?" And I was like,
I don't not want some hash.
How much for your hash, you know? And he I don't remember what he said. It was like 1,500 rupee or something. It was more than Goa, but it was still like, I don't have a connect in Varanasi for weed, and there's not a dispensary, so fuck it. I said, he pulls it out, and it was about the same amount. It was about a gram of hash, and it smelled about the same, looked about the same.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, sure, you know. And I mean, it was hash I was familiar with.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, okay, this isn't like some tobacco that's been mushed down or something. Like this is hash. You break it apart, you can smell. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, now if I pull out my money, am I going to get robbed? Like, how's this going to work?
Yeah. How do we do this? Yeah.
How do we do this? And then it's like, I don't have anything to carry it in. I don't have a damn pipe. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck it, you know. And so I said I called out my friend's name, and I was like, hey, and he turns around, he sees me, and then they see that we're together, and then I'm like, at that point, I'm like, okay, hey, I'll buy this from you. So then he knows, okay, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. So I got backup, and I pull out my cash, and I pay him, and I took the hash, and then I go walk up to my buddy, and I said, hey, I got some hash. And he's like, how does this stuff find you? And I said, well, I don't know. It just finds me. And so he's like, well, we need something to smoke it out of. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. I said, let's go see if we can find a little market or something to smoke. And so we walked up, and we found this young guy, and we were kind of talking to him. And he said, hey, do you want me to I'll show you the gats if you want to see them. And it's like, okay. And so we went walking up, and we get around this corner, and there is the banks, and it's pretty quiet except for like you can hear some chanting and stuff. And so like if you envision, like if you're standing kind of on this stone pathway kind of thing that's wide, like big, wide, all the way down to the banks of the river, but kind of slants up and has steps going up to these temples, these big stone temples that are like lit, like they got lights shining on them, almost like Vegas style, like purple or green or blue or white lights shining on the temples that have these faces painted on them, these deities painted on the sides of them, different, because they got millions of deities painted on the sides of these temples, and there's like flags fluttering and stuff, and that reminds me, I forgot about my moment of clarity in Jaisalmer, where I'll step back to Jaisalmer for a moment, where we went into the fort, and it was late at night, and it was like out of some like 1,001 Arabian Nights stories. The doorways are like out of an Aladdin film or something.
Right.
And you go, there's stairs that are just stones that are sticking out of the wall, like long plank-like stones sticking out of the wall. And you go up these stone walkways because we want to have some chai, and we end up in this little courtyard up on top, and there are Jain is one of the religions.
Right.
So
Jain.
Yes, and so Jainists are, it's like, don't hurt anything in nature. Like,
right, they're like
nothing
ultra
living.
Vegans.
Oh, vegans have nothing on
Yeah,
them.
right.
Jains, it's like,
right.
It's like, oh, you walked? Well, you might have stepped on some living thing, or it's like, we don't eat roots, we don't eat like nothing, nothing living.
Oh, you ate something that casts a shadow? Well, shame on you.
Yeah.
It's well, they can eat things that replace itself, right? Like, so they can pick berries and things like that, right?
I honestly don't know, but I know it's like ultra crazy. Like, there's some that walk with a broom, and they sweep every step in front of them in case they step on an insect.
Right.
So they just sweep everything out of the way.
It's my understanding that, like, you can eat things, like, because you got to eat something, right?
Things that regenerate.
But you can't kill it. So you can't even kill a plant. So you can eat berries, you can eat, fruits and things like that will come off of a tree.
So you couldn't eat, like, a carrot because you're pulling the root out of the ground.
Right, exactly, that shit's out, but... Yeah.
Isn't it nuts? But so there's a lot of Jain temples there as well as the Hindu. And so we were up, and it's like starlit and beautiful, and there's like bells ringing, and it's weird, and there's like this gentle warm breeze because it's like 70-ish degrees there because it's summertime there. And and there was like this stairway, and then this building, and then there was like a rooftop with this weird, and I mean, we're talking like 800-year-old thing here. And I said, can I climb up on top of that to this guy that was setting us down to get our chai? And he said, yeah, just don't fall. I'm like, okay. And so I just climbed up on top of this building, and I'm like all alone on the very top of this building, and like there's nothing higher than me in this fort. And the breeze is warm and blowing, and there's bells ringing, and you hear chanting, and there's these flags kind of fluttering and flapping, and you don't really hear the traffic or the horns. And I just laid flat on my back on this rooftop, and I was just staring up at the stars, and I was just really like being in the moment, you know?
So cool.
That
And
is
just
really
taking,
cool.
just breathing really deep, and just like taking it in, and just like that was one of my real moments of just like, whoa, like, like this is heavy. Like where I'm at right now is just fucking incredible, and I'm just having this moment that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And like I remember the smells and the sounds and just the feeling, and and so I spent a good minute there just taking it in.
That sounds awesome, man. Hell yeah.
Nice.
So
You're reminded of this when you saw the...
yes, so we're in Varanasi, we're seeing these temples, and it was really quiet except for these shaman that are chanting, and there's like probably 5 fires burning, right? And you look in these fires, and some of the fires were just, they're building up these funeral pyres, like stacking wood. So the families pay for the wood, and they pay for the shaman to come and do the blessing, and they pay for the flowers, and they buy the wood, and the wood, there's like stacks of wood all over there, and there's people that just sell the wood there. And they put the wood on the funeral pyres, and then when it gets real hot, then they put the body on it. And the men are in white, like linen, wrapped in white linen, and then they've got they're like kind of on a bamboo stretcher, and they have flowers all over them. And then the women are in a red linen, and they have the flowers all over them, and they're on this bamboo stretcher, and they take them down to the Ganga, and they splash water over them and kind of bless the body, because as my understanding is your reincarnation journey is over, and you go on to the afterlife once you are burned at the Ghats, and your ashes are spread into the Ganges River. So that's like a big deal. Like that's like people come there to die.
Right.
Like that is, you want to die there, and you want to be cremated there. And so then...
Do they do this ritual elsewhere in India?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But this is like the hub.
But this is like...
It's the main one,
The jam.
And there's more than one burning Ghat. There's a lot of burning Ghats there. They're kind of all along the Ganges. And so we're like, he takes us down, like this guy's like, do you want to come look? And like there's no like fence or anything. Like it's like you can
just walk right up
to
it.
Like, and then like I'm like walking on the mud, like just like thinking like, what is this mud made out of?
Yeah.
Probably because this has been going on at this location for over 3,000 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said they did something like at that Ghat, there was something like 100 bodies a day or something, 100, 125.
Holy moly.
That's a lot.
Like, it's constant. It is never ending. Like, right now, there's bodies burning right there.
Wow.
And it has been going that way for thousands
it's just
of
a
years.
big outdoor crematorium.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, it is.
And so you definitely got to... You were introduced to the aroma.
Yes, and it is this sort of sweet smell, and it's a very it is very distinct. Like I've never smelled anything. It's kind of like you smell weed.
Sure.
It's like, oh, that's weed. I mean, okay, it could be a skunk, but you smoke enough weed. It's like, nah, I can tell the difference between a skunk and even skunk weed. It's like, no, there's a little difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a burning body is a very unique smell, and I know that if I ever smell it again, it's just going to be one of those like, whoa, where's that body burning? Because I've never smelled anything like it anywhere.
Wild.
And so he takes us down, and me, idiot, tourist, I'm going to take a picture, right? Because holy fuck.
No.
And so he kind of like knocks my hand down. He's like, no, you can't take pictures here. He says, I'll get beaten.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, because he brought you down there.
Yeah, and they'll see me taking the pictures. They're not going to fuck with me, but they know him, and they'll beat his ass.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, it was just such a stupid move on my part, but it was just like, you see a body burning
Yeah.
fucking 10 feet from you, and it's just like, I kind of want to document this because this is like a religious rite and it's kind of interesting.
You're also still in tourist mode. You're like, this is a tourist attraction to me.
Yeah, because it's so out of this world that I've never...
Right.
It's like, how do I tell somebody about this?
Right.
It's so crazy. And so then we kind of walked back and went up, and there was a guy selling chai at a chai stand, and so we bought a couple cigarettes from him and emptied the tobacco out. And
There you go. There you go.
It's like, all right, we can just drop some hash down in there, maybe mix it with a little tobacco to kind of fill it out.
Classic.
Right? I was pretty proud of myself. And he's like, well, you've really got this down. And I'm just like, it's not my first rodeo. Yeah, so we had some, like, we're sitting there drinking chai and smoking hash and watching the bodies burn on the edge of the Ganges.
Fucking A.
And then the kid's like, hey, do you want to go see where the Brahmins burn? And the Brahmins the highest caste. And so they're kind of burned up higher, off the banks a little bit. And so when they burn the bodies, they burn them until really there's nothing left to burn. And in women, what's left over, well, the last thing to burn is the hips. Because the pelvis of a woman is very dense because... you bear children. Right? So that's a very dense part of the female anatomy. And on men, it's the rib cage. Because we have big chests, you know. It's just the anatomy. It's just the facts of life.
Huh.
So what they do is
I never really considered that the bone structures and stuff would burn
me neither.
differently because of density. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think about that.
Wild.
I have never burned a body, so I don't have to worry about that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. So they smash that stuff down, and then all those ashes and bones are carried and scattered into the river.
Wild.
Yeah, and then if you are a snake bite victim, if you are an accident victim, if you are a leper, or if you are a shaman or a holy man, you are not burned. Your body is just put into the Ganges. You're wrapped up, weighted with stones, put in the Ganges. A leper...
that was my thought. I was like, we're just gonna dump fucking
leprosy infested bodies.
Seems like a bad idea.
Now, snake bite victims, you're bit by a snake, you die. They don't just throw you in the Ganges, and the reason is because your life was ended abruptly. Like, so you need to reincarnate. They're not gonna, it's like you're not ready to go on to the afterlife because your life did not end naturally. You do not die of old age. Snake bite victims. In case you come back to life, they dress your body and put flowers on you and a cover on you, and they let you sit for 6 months before they put you in the Ganges.
Holy shit.
So your body sits there and putrefies for 6 months before they put you in the Ganges River. So you got 6-month-old corpses, lepers, babies, accident victims, and holy men going into the Ganges.
Why don't the holy men get the treatment?
Because they're holy men. It's different. I'm not a
super
expert.
Okay.
I haven't the answer for that. That's what I was told. And so you've got all that.
Just snake bite victims?
Yeah.
What about like spider bite victims? Or what about like tiger maulings? Is that
probably falls into the
accident?
Does that fall
under accident?
Probably, yeah.
But snakes specifically, it's like, no, dude, you gotta...
Yeah, because they got like cobras and stuff there.
Right, yeah.
So snake bites happen.
Sure.
And so you got that, in addition to the pharmaceuticals, the chemicals, the paints, the solvents.
Right.
Washing into the Ganges.
Right.
Heavy metals from tanneries.
Heavy metals, yes, yeah.
Plus, again, the cows that just sort of eat and drink and shit
everywhere, yeah. And humans, too.
Yeah.
So you'll be walking along the streets and you'll just see piles of shit. Like...
Yeah.
And people just pissing wherever. Like, people piss on the side of the road, people shit on the side of the road, people just pull over and piss. I mean,
if you're just throwing your trash everywhere, too, like, what's the difference, right?
Yeah. So, and, it all flows downhill into the Ganga. And...
Wow.
So, he has
So what you're saying is you took a swim.
God, no. But...
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is part of the problem, too, is that people use that river for drinking water and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I saw fish being sold, and it's like, well, where are these fish coming from?
Yeah.
And it's like, you talk about, like, people here say, oh, well, don't eat the fish because they got high levels of mercury. It's like, man, those fish there are probably made out of mercury.
Got like high levels of
like,
leprosy.
You know, it's like, these fish have very low levels of not pollution. You know what I mean? It's
seriously.
Fuck.
Damn.
Yeah. So
people bathe, wash their clothes.
Well, and my
right?
friend told me he drank some of the water back in the day.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive, but he got very sick after that.
I imagine he did.
Shocking.
Yeah, but there's like boat tours and stuff. So he said, "Do you want to go see the Brahmins?" We said, "Yeah." And so, you know, we'd smoked some hash, and so you go up these stairs, and you go up to, and there's these big, like, tall tower sort of things with these furnaces. Like, I liken it to a blast furnace. Like, it's a funeral pyre with a big chimney that they have chains, and they drop the chimneys down over the pyre so that it just draws the air in, and it just really gets it super hot. And so we're sitting up there with this kid, and then his buddy is there, and we're just talking to him, and there's a cow and a calf there just hanging out, like, and it's like, you guys must have brought these up the stairs to get up here. I don't even get it. And, and there's like piles of these like flowers just everywhere, like, and they put the flowers on strings like a lei, you know, because the bodies are covered with them, but then when they burn them, they pull that off. So there's these piles of flowers, there's like a stack of blankets in the corner, and the guy's like, here, come, like, sit down. And I'm like, my friend just kind of, he's wrapped in his, like, scarf, and he just kind of goes and he sits on this pile of blankets, and I'm just like, dude, there's probably so many bodies in these blankets, and who knows, like, what kind of, like, we turn the lights on here, it's like a strip joint, you know, it looks great.
Right?
It's like, turn the lights on, and it's like, oh god, I don't want to touch anything.
Oh, these blankets are made of bugs.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like, Nightmare Before Christmas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ugh. And so I'm like squatting, like I'm squatting
You're hovering.
down. Yeah, I'm hovering on the blankets, and he's like, just sit down. I'm like, oh. So I sat down on the blankets, and then I've got like these cows. Like, it's such a trip. So we're smoking hash, and then the guy busts out a chillum, and so we're smoking weed out of his chillum.
Boom Shanka.
And I'm sitting on this stack of blankets, and then there's these two cows, like 3 feet away from me to my right, eating these strings of flowers. And, like, they eat some, and some of the string goes down their throat.
No.
And so it's, like, got a string hanging out the side of its mouth with flowers. And, I mean, and the cow comes up and starts bumping me and sniffing me.
Yeah.
A cow.
Make friends.
Yeah, well, and it's like, well, how friendly is this cow? Like, it's used to being around people, but, like, I'm not Indian people. Like, maybe I smell different. Maybe it wants to nip at me or something. Like, what do I do? And I'm high as fuck on hash and fucking weed. And then they put this body on the fire, and I'm saying this body is 10 feet away from me on this. Like, I'm 10 feet from this body. It's wrapped in white linen. They put it on this funeral pyre. The shaman's going around the thing, and he's sprinkling it with the water, and he's got the grass fronds.
And our family members?
No,
present?
just the holy man and the people tending the fires. Like they turn the body over to them, and it's just handled from there.
So like they do their own service, and then
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and maybe some of those people were family. I don't exactly know.
Sure.
Because it's not like you just go up and start talking to them. It's just
Right.
burning a fucking body, you know?
Right,
It's like, hey,
right.
what's going on over here, guys? You know?
Right.
And so it's weird because it's like I'm high as fuck, and there's this. They throw this. They set this body on the fire. Well, this linen burns off almost immediately. So then you've just got this bare naked body like sitting on the fire, and I'm looking at the guy's feet, like catching fire, you know. And it takes a while for a body to burn. Hours and hours.
The fat renders, and then that catches fire.
Yeah, but they're not fat like Americans. It's
Fucking
like,
A.
and especially as they get old, you know, most of them are. The ones I saw were all like thin.
Just a bunch of bones and leather.
Pretty much. And so, and then my friend, you know, he just gave me this line, like, I'm just, like, high as fuck, and the whole situation, the set and the setting was just, like, what the fuck? And he says, I'm changing, just to maintain anonymity, I'm changing the wording a little bit, but the wording was, in effect, was, I'll bet you never thought you'd be here with me right now smoking hash. And watching the bodies burn, and I was just like, nope. And he's like, what do you think of this? And I said, this is like being on acid without being on acid. This is like the closest I've been to an acid trip without frying on acid in my whole life.
Right?
It was just absolutely fucking insane, because I'm just... Even if I hadn't been under the influence of hashish and marijuana, it was still
Oh, it's
just
a
like,
completely
what
surreal
the
experience,
fuck?
I imagine. Yeah.
And in my day-to-day life, I don't smoke because I can't, because with my job and stuff. And so it's like, I'm pretty much a lightweight compared to most people. I've never dabbed. I think I've taken 2 hits off a weed pen in my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
My weed experience is like cookies, a couple of edibles, and like, smoking weed the old-fashioned way, out of a pipe or a bong or a joint, or knife hits or gravity bong hits.
Well, let me count the ones, actually.
But that's old school.
You're talking about burning flower.
Yes, burning flower, exactly. Not this shit they got, this crack cocaine of marijuana that they have nowadays,
Yeah.
So... so it's old school. So it's like I'm plenty well on my way, and like, and then the guy was like, "Oh, do you want to go see Shiva's fire?" Well, Shiva's fire is like the Olympic flame of the burning ghats. Like it's the fire, and he says this fire has been burning for 3,500 years.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
They've been keeping it burning
With bodies?
No. They just.
Okay.
Only partly.
That's so metal.
Right? Yeah, dude.
There have been burning bodies on this fire for 35
No,
years.
it's like you kind of go into this little like alcove sort of thing, and there's a fire burning there, and it's just they just keep it stoked and just keep it going, and there's always people there.
There's
and
someone there to keep it
and
going.
then you can give an offering to the head man who's in charge, the head shaman or whatever, and it's like the offering goes to pay for wood and pay for the funeral rites, the shaman to perform the rites for people that bring the bodies there but can't afford enough, to pay for everything. So it's kind of like a charity, like it's, you're donating towards the cause. So we gave some rupees. I gave like 500. He gave like a couple thousand or something. We weren't having any bodies burned there, but it was like, hey, just an offering, just out of respect for, we got to see the Shiva's fire, and here you go. And then we went up, and like where we were watching the Brahmins burn was just like you're so like we had ash raining on us because the fire's down below, the ash gets carried up until it cools, and then it like we had ash raining on us, we had smoke, like it was so hard to breathe, and I'm like, I am breathing in bodies right now.
Yeah, you're like, I am covered in bodies.
I'm covered in bodies. Yeah. So then we hung out there for a bit, kind of took all that in, and then we walked back, and we were talking on the way back. And I said, "What do you think of that?" And I was just like, "That was a fucking mind fuck, like a complete mind
Seriously.
fuck. Like that was just absolutely insane.
Some real culture shock right there.
Yeah. Like you don't just there's nowhere here you just go hang out and watch bodies burn on the side of the river.
Right.
Like there's Hindus here, but that doesn't happen here.
Right.
So I've never experienced that. So we went back to our hotel. I put up with my night of like smoke, like choking me, and it wasn't bodies. It was like somebody burning incense or something, like a massive amount. Probably maybe plastic or something that had just settled to the low points. And that was a shitty, sleepy night. But
holy shit!
The next day our driver had told us about the Kumbh Mela, which is the largest gathering of humans in the history of mankind. So every 12 years, at the convergence of the Ganges...
Take that, Rainbow Gathering.
Yes.
Even Mecca ain't got shit.
Yeah. What is the name of this river? There's 3 rivers. There's a mystical river... Shit, I cannot remember. The Ganges, it's like the... I'm going to just butcher it because I'm not even going to get it right.
Well, yeah, we look it up.
Yeah. So the Kumbh Mela, there's 3 rivers. There's the Ganges and the, like, Fadwa or Katwa or something. Sounds, that's kind of ringing a bell, but something like that. And then this mystical underground 3rd river... They all converge on the same spot, and they're all 3 like super holy. It's like one of the 6 points where Shiva's teardrop, or one of the major deities hit the ground there. right
Okay.
there, and then the river sprung out of that. That's their story. And if there are any Hindus listening, I apologize. I'm kind of way off. I'm somewhat close, I think, but way off. But it's like one of the most holy sites in Hinduism. And it just so happened that we were there and this is like a 2-month-long gathering. And there was 150 million people.
What the shit?
150 million people at this gathering.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So we were like, it's like 2.5 hour drive away, but we're like, fuck, we got to see this.
Might as well.
Fucking A. And it's only once every 12 years, and we just so happen to be in the right place at the right fucking time.
Love it.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, we got to go see this. So we hired our driver and just said, yeah, fucking take us there. And so you're saying, well, where do you see elephants? Well, where I saw the first elephant was at the Kumbh Mela. And it was just a worker elephant just hauling a fat ass load of grass for some dude who was riding its back. It was just
wild,
walking around. I mean, it must have been his family elephant that was just, like, hey, go take the elephant down to the store and get me some milk. And so it was like, yeah, so the Kumbh Mela is kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of shamans, tents, big gathering places where they can, like Rajneeshi style, like you sit cross-legged and buy my book and come join my ashram and I will speak and then I'll sing for a while and you'll prostrate yourselves and, worship
and
me.
just seas of that.
150 million people.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oceans.
Hang out for a while and we'll feed you.
Huh.
That's like, what is that, like a third of America or something?
God, I think you're probably right. Yeah, it was a fuck like.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That year, so
that's
that
150
year.
Portland.
That was January of this year. Yeah, that was the largest gathering in the history of mankind. And typically the Kumbh Mela, every time it occurs, is the largest gathering of humans. And this is where you see, like, National Geographic, like the sadhus and the holy men and the hermits that come out of the mountains, and they're all got the dreadlocks, and they're naked, and they're all painted white, and they go running into the Ganges. This is that. This is what that is.
Okay.
And there's, like, fights over who gets to be the first into the river.
Wow.
Like, there have been people killed over this.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so, like, the government, like, had like, tried to appease everyone, and they built a lot of infrastructure. They built bridges, like, temporary bridges, built with these gigantic, like, floats. Because you have to cross the river to get to all the points, and they built, like, streets, and they put in, like,
well, right, you've got to build a city.
Yes,
to support 150 or 150 million people.
Yeah.
And so there, like, people, there's like beggars like you wouldn't believe there, and we're talking like good ones, like elephantitis, like lepers, like missing limbs, missing eyes, clubfoot, like
good ones.
Legit beggars.
Legit. Not Portland panhandlers like, oh, I need some weed. Like, wow, this person has elephantitis and their whole side of their body has got this huge giant growth on it, and
holy cow.
Yeah, and
gnarly.
And so, like, people would make sacrifices there, like, women would shave their heads, and, like, we're talking, like, straight razor shaves, and I'm just like, Hep C, nope.
Right.
Not happening. I do not want hepatitis. I am not even fucking with that at all. Like, stay away from me. It's like, just the slightest nick. You nick your little mosquito bump or your little shaving bump, and you're going to get some sort of disease. Because it's like, we're not talking like, oh, he dips it in alcohol after each shave. No, he just goes from person to person.
Right, I mean, I can't imagine, based on everything you've told me so far, that they just suddenly make this gathering super sanitary.
No, none of them.
Yeah.
And so they have boats where people pay money, and they go out onto the Ganges and this other river. God, I wish I could remember the name. But where these two rivers converge, you can go right out to the convergence because one's green, one's brown. Where they converge, you get all the silt and so it gets very shallow there, like 4 feet deep. And it's weird, like you see the intersection, and so that is like the holiest of holies right there.
Yeah.
So people pay money and they overload a rowboat and row their happy asses out to the middle. Like we're talking 30, 40 people on a boat.
Whoa.
Jammed onto a boat. They row out to the convergence of these rivers. They got these little, like, almost like the noodles you get in some of the Chinese restaurants that they give you to just dip in the sweet and sour.
Yeah.
Kind of like big bags of those that they're thrown out onto the water to feed
little,
the
like,
birds.
chow mein or whatever. Yeah.
To feed the birds.
Oh, okay.
Because there's not enough shit in the river. We need to add, like...
Yeah.
An insane amount of bird shit.
Yeah, attract a ton of birds
Seagulls,
to just be there.
They're like like the birds, like the movie Hitchcock, the birds. Think like that. Like, it's about this many birds just fucking everywhere.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And so they row out to the convergence, and then the people hop out of the boats because it's 4 feet deep. You can stand out there, and it's slow enough moving at the convergence. It's just kind of a little rolling sort of thing that you're totally safe standing there. Safe in the sense you're not going to get swept away. You're probably going to get cancer the moment you touch the water.
Yeah.
You know, the water entering every orifice of your body at that point.
Oh, God.
And and at that point is where they bathe because it's holy. They fully submerge themselves in the water. They drink the water. They bottle it and take it home or take it back to their loved ones. They shave their bodies out there, shave their heads. The hair is all in the water everywhere. The bird shit is in the water. And mind you, I think we're downstream of a lot of the gaps from there too. Mm-hmm. So you're getting there's some fingers coming by.
Sure.
Bones. Yeah, there's some rib cages and some pelvises coming through there. And those Simpson fish, I'm sure the three-eyed Simpson.
Old Blinky.
Blinky. And so we arranged for a boat to take us out to the middle, because it's like, we're here. Let's fucking do it.
We're on the waders, boys.
I did not get out of the fucking boat. No. So,
hell no.
And I felt like the most ridiculous, like, wealthy person out there, because it was me and my buddy, our guide, and the guy rowing the boat. Yeah. And we're like, that's it. And we have a huge ass boat to ourselves. Meanwhile, every other boat is like piled, like refugee coming from Cuba to Florida status.
Loaded to gun whales.
Because you pay a small amount to get on the boat to get out to the middle. We paid for the whole boat because it's like, let's just get a boat and go out in the middle.
We can swing this whole boat.
Exactly. So we have this guy row our asses out to the confluence, which was like, wow, this is fucking rad. I'm here at the Kumbh Mela, like the holiest fucking thing for these people in 12 years, and I'm at the most holy spot in Hinduism with all these motherfuckers checking this thing out. And one of these birds shits on our guide's head. Like, just
a blessing!
The fattest shit right on his fucking head.
A teardrop from Shiva.
A blessing from the birds!
I felt, and here's the thing. I noticed it out of the corner of my eye. And this guy's kind of bald. Like, he's an Indian guy. Picture kind of like the Friar Tuck, kind of scraggly hair, the ring of hair, bald on top.
The Costanza, as I like to call it.
The Costanza. And it kind of shit sort of on like his right forward quadrant. So it ran down his forehead.
Oh, no.
And like over the eyelid, cheek, and onto the shirt. Because these birds are well fed.
Oh, fuck.
And it was just like, where you're laughing, you're like dying laughing, and you can't stop.
I mean, that's how you get pink eye.
Purple eye and orange eye and all the eyes. But so I just kind of faced away because I'm like, all I can do is give this guy his dignity and pretend like I didn't see this.
Right.
Because if this happened to me, I wouldn't want anybody to have seen this.
That's awful.
Yeah,
so I just kind of turned around. My friend, he was facing the other way, and I just kind of turned around, and I was just dying laughing. Like, I was, like, cry laughing, you know what I mean? And it was just like, and he's like, I could kind of out of the corner of my eye see him just, like, wiping the shit with his sleeve.
Oh,
and it's
God.
Like, well, even if you wipe the shit off your head and onto your hand is still cleaner than if you dip it in the Ganges.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like, that's the situation. But he didn't even look at it that way. So he, like, he was in, like, putting his hand in the water and putting the water on his head.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so fucking...
Try not to splash any of that on me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got back to shore, and, you know, I gave him his dignity, pretending like I never even saw it.
Right.
I told my friend later, I'm like, oh yeah, the biggest bird just shit all over his fucking head. Just fucking everywhere.
Gnarly.
And, oh, it was so fucking bad. And then we got back to shore, we paid the boatman, we got in the car, we drove, and then we went to see some sadhu. And it was apparently some sadhu that our guide, like, wanted to meet, like some rock star holy man. And so we show up, and he goes off talking to some big burly Indian guy in robes who's like a lieutenant to the holy man.
Oh, God.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he finds out we're American. Now, nothing will legitimize your ashram like having an American in your ashram.
Right.
Like, oh, I've got white people in my ashram. Like, I'm so legit.
Whoa.
So the holy man, he's like, he said, I'll be. You just wait here. I'm gonna go talk to whatever the hell his name was. I don't remember, but he goes and he talks. Like, the guy's cloistered away in some private room, and there's other holy men talking. And so he's like, oh, come sit over here. So he has to sit down and watch some other guy talking, who's yammering on in Hindi about, who knows?
Sure.
Some bullshit. And there's probably... he's probably got 50 or 75 people just listening intently and whatever. And then, like, he'll talk, and then he'll start singing randomly.
Yep.
You know, and then he'll start talking again, and he'll start singing again. And it's like you see, almost like you see, like, the Iranian, like, in their churches, or I guess their... Mosques, yeah. Like, the guy will be at the microphone, and he's got his... turban. Well, they're wearing turbans, and he's got that on, and he's like just talking into a 1980s style microphone with the wired up, and he's sitting there cross-legged, and then he just starts singing, and then he's and I don't understand a lick of it because obviously it's nothing close to English. And then the guy comes back, the big guy comes back, he brings us bottles of water, and then he's like, oh, so-and-so, he'd like to meet you. And I was like, wow, okay. And our guide is like pumped. Like,
Shit.
I can tell he's like, holy shit, I'm meeting Elvis. You know, like, this is fucking huge. Like, he is psyched. And he's feeling, like, I could tell, like, he's like, oh, well, I brought these guys, so, like, I'm super important.
Oh,
like,
shit.
I'm in with them, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, whatever. And so the guy had to get ready or whatever. And so then we find out, oh, he's coming out. And so they bring us, and we're just like, okay. And so, like, everybody's got their shoes off. And we go sit in this big semicircle thing. And then the lieutenant guy, he's like, oh, no, you guys come up here. He has us sit, like, scoots us in front of everybody. And I'm just feeling like I'm embarrassed. Because it's like, everybody else here... this is their Jesus. Right? And I'm just this schmuck.
And they're just giving you VIP front row?
Yes, exactly. And I'm like...
you're like, I'm not going to give two fucks about this as soon as I leave.
Exactly. And so I'm like, these people came all the way to the Kumbh Mela to see this guy. And this is their Jesus. And I'm just like... elbowing my white ass right to the... and not elbowing, but, you know, that's how I feel. I feel like here I am in front.
Excuse me.
They all seemed super pumped about it, too, though. Like, once we're up there, they're, like, super happy to meet us.
Sure.
They're, like, explaining of, like, they're all, like, oh, like, overwhelmed and, like, oh, he wants to, you know, meet you and blah, blah, and it's just like, holy shit, like, they're pumped, right? And this guy comes out, and he's, like, this kind of big, like, old... all wearing all white, with all white hair, long white beard, like exactly what you'd think.
Right, you know? Yeah.
Like,
and that's what's crazy. It's like, these guys are a dime a dozen, right?
It's like the stereotypical holy man. Like, if I had to, like, somebody said, hey, draw me an Indian holy man.
Right.
You'd be like, that guy right there. That's him. And so he comes out. I think he spoke English, but he kind of played coy because... he doesn't, you know, we're Americans, so he doesn't want to look stupid in front of his followers.
Right.
So if he can feign a little bit of lost in translation, then maybe if like maybe we're hard hitters and we're in depth on Hinduism, and like we could bury his ass or so. He doesn't know who he's encountering, so he's got to be kind of careful, right? So he's kind of communicating through his, like, he's got a guy holding an umbrella over him. He's got a guy fanning him. He's got a guy unwrapping and handing him candy. He's got another guy giving him drinks. And then he's got his lieutenant over here that kind of wrangled us into this thing.
Wow.
That's intense.
And he's kind of spoke a little bit of broken English to us. Oh, we got his book. Like, he wrote a book. I left it in India because I'm like, I had a backpack.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, like, it's a kind of a cool souvenir, but I'll bet I can find it on Amazon. And
and like, there's thousands of these guys, right? Like,
yeah, 150 million motherfuckers of this joint. I mean, it was ashram after ashram, and some were really tiny, and some were huge.
Right.
And it was just like, that's what it's there for, is there to recruit new people to their ashram. And so he was talking to us and asking where we're from and asked us what we did for a living. And then he kind of figured out what we worked with. And he said, I want you to come and join my ashram. He's talking to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, he said my friend was too old.
Oh, shit.
And it was like, well, if you had any idea, like, he's the one that's worth the money. I'm not worth shit. It's like, he's the one that comes with all the accessories, And he's
but
too
like,
old.
you're the one who recruits the women.
Well, that was the thing. I said, so, like, he said, yeah, leave my family and my girlfriend and, like, come join the ashram. And I was like, so I can't be with, like, women when I'm in the ashram? And he says, no.
Oh.
And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I like women too much. I can't join the ashram. Yeah.
He's like, no. I can be with the women. You can't be with the women.
I said, no, I'm sorry. And then he said something, and then his lieutenant's like, well, you can ask him any question you want. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I told my friend, I said, I want to ask him if he can levitate.
I love
it. And my friend's like, no. He's like, don't do that. And I was like, really? He said I could ask him anything. And I want to see this motherfucker levitate.
Should ask him if you want to smoke some hash.
Then ask him if he
Let's levitate, bro. Can we do some karaoke on your microphone? Like, no. Right. So then I was like, all right. I was like, well, so I said, the only thing, I didn't have a question. Like, I don't have any questions for this guy. Like, he's not Jesus. He's not Gandhi. He's just some holy man. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I potentially could learn something from this guy. Sure. But there's a lot of people in life I could learn something from. So this wasn't like a moment where I felt like I'm missing out on something if I don't ask this guy the question of questions. You know? So I was like, I said, well, do you like American music? I don't know, right, like whatever. And he said, and then he said something to his lieutenant. His lieutenant's like, do you have some you can play? And I was like, well, yes, I do. So I just busted out my phone, and I played.
You got an aux jack?
Did you play American music?
Yeah, I did. I played him some Alan Walker.
Okay.
Which is like kind of electronic stuff. I don't know if you heard of Alan Walker. No, okay. It's pretty mainstream electronic type music.
Like dance music?
Yeah, kind of. Sort of. Kind of little down-tempo stuff. But, so I played him some of that. And I don't remember which song. I think, I don't know, Where Are You Now? Or something like that. But he thought it was all right, I guess. But I don't think that's what... I think he was expecting, like, us wanting to be enlightened by him.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Something. He wants you to ask the grand questions.
Right, so he can look super wise. And then it was like, okay, I'm not joining your ashram. It's cool. We had a good time. Thank you. And, everybody, like, you bow.
I've got, like, 10 other ashrams to hit today. Yeah. So, like, I don't know, man. Like,
we'll see. We'll see.
Like, it's going to be a hard pass because of the no women thing.
What's your snap? Like,
Have your people contact my people. Like, we'll be in touch.
So then he wanted to feed us. Like, he gave us, like, they're going to feed everybody afterwards. And I was like, man, like, I see your people handling food barehanded without washing their hands. And so I'm not really into that. So, but it was like, okay, thank you. We got to go. And so we just, we left out of there. And then we went back to... I mean, that was the kind of it for the Kumbh Mela. I mean, other than the travel. Oh, there was this one heartbreaking thing. Going around, like, it was huge. It was fucking massive. Like, it was beyond a city. It was 150 million people, and the most heartbreaking thing I saw there's a lot of hard shit in India. Like, it's you really, even as a tourist, you're encountering a lot of shit that just makes you really think deeply. There was a dog in the middle of the road, and it was a mama dog, and her puppy was there, and the puppy had just been run over.
No.
And you would think that people would be a little more compassionate, but dogs there are just like feral, whatever. They're like rats, basically. Yeah. And the mama dog was not leaving the puppy. Like, cars would come whizzing by, and she'd kind of get out of the way and then come back. No. And I mean, the puppy was dead. Like,
That's
dead.
So sad.
And it was just like, I felt so bad, because it's like I could just see the pain on this mama dog's eyes, you know?
Yeah.
That was her puppy, and it was just dead.
So in this makeshift city, there's cars. So they've built
the
roads, and there's
bridges,
cars.
and a shitload. And there's people selling shit to go, like, offer, like, you know, offerings and candles and little incense burners, and there's souvenir sellers, clothes, food stands, like world's biggest carnival kind of thing.
Yeah, wild,
and shitloads of ashrams trying to recruit people, and like healers, and like, take my magical potion, whatever the fuck, and it'll heal your cancer, and like total bullshit stuff.
Right, just like a giant festival of grifters.
Yep. Just a snake oil.
Yeah. But also, I mean, to millions of people, this is the most holy thing. Like, it's, they don't look at it as grifters. They look at it as like, man, this is like where I go, and
I'll find my guru.
Exactly.
And my, like,
you'll
place
find your
in
guru.
life.
So then we went back to Varanasi. We spent a couple of days, 2-3 days in Varanasi, and it was like, by the time we left Varanasi, it was kind of this feeling of like, okay, this is a very bizarre, fucking weird place. Very weird. Glad I saw it. I would go back to Varanasi because it's just so fucking weird. But there's this weird feeling of the whole place is just kind of a weird feeling. Yeah. I think a lot of it's the death there. You know?
Yeah. I mean, 100 burning bodies per day.
It's definitely a huge component.
That's going to hang a shadow.
Because it kind of takes you out of your normal space that you're used to being in your head.
Yeah.
Because you confront mortality, and then, like, different faiths than what you're used to.
Absolutely.
Like, completely different than what you're used to. And so it was a very strange place. And so then from there, we flew. And in fact, so we were sitting in our room that, like, before we left, we were smoking some hash. Because it was like, well, we got to get rid of this hash.
Got to polish off this hash.
We're going to Hyderabad next, but we don't want to. I'm not going to take this hash on the plane, and we're just taking a taxi back to the airport in Varanasi, and so it's not going to be a similar situation where I can just give it to somebody. So we just sat up in his room, and we're smoking some hash, and there's these monkeys that, like, just kind of came along and just started, like, the rooms all had bars on the windows, and we're like 4 floors up. It's not like to keep people out, it's to keep the monkeys out of your room. Because there's a shitload of these little bastards, and like they like are weird, like, and got their little hands, you know, like little human hands, with their little fingernails and shit, and their little dirty poop encrusted fingernails. And you know, and they wipe their asses and they smell their hands, and then I had a box of like chiclets, and so I was like, I'd give the monkeys like little pieces of gum and shit, and they'd like take it with 2 hands and kind of look at it and smell it, and then take a bite, and they kind of chew on it, and then they'd swallow it, and then they'd take another bite, and so we're like smoking hash, just high as fuck, giving the monkeys gum, you know, like what the fuck, and so like
that's real good for them.
I videotaped some of it, and it was just like, holy shit, like, this is fucking crazy. Like, we're, like, fucking feeding monkeys gum and smoking fucking hash.
Did you do a little, like, drug handshake with the monkey to pass off the rest of that hash?
No, what I did is I wrapped it up in the tin foil, and I dropped it out the window, because there was, like, a street, it's like an alley, between the next building and us, and so I figured maybe somebody will find it.
Maybe somebody.
It'll be a ground score, you know? Fuck yeah, some hash, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just dropped it out like that, because I was like, well, somebody's going to find this.
Yep.
And
Fucking
so,
gone.
so then we got on the plane, and we flew from Varanasi to Hyderabad, and it was in Spice Jet, which is like not the, you know, I think I talked earlier about the Indian flight experience, which is not the greatest. It's not as bad as Southwest Airlines. At least they feed you on SpiceJet. I mean, granted, it's Indian food, but they don't just throw a bag of peanuts at you and just leave you with... Oh, man, I hate Southwest.
Yeah, man.
The only redeeming quality is the 2 free check bags. That's it,
Yep.
you know. So, God, it's flying Walmart.
Yeah.
So... We got to Hyderabad, which is a predominantly Muslim area, so you don't have the cows running around everywhere. We went to Golconda Fort, and I'm going to run through Hyderabad really fast because it was just such a long trip. Golconda Fort, the most fortified fortress, I think, in the history of the world. I think 7 or 8 layers of walls extending out kilometers from the core, from the heart of it, and it's not a living fortress anymore. I mean, it's kind of ruined at this point. They're rebuilding the very innermost kind of sanctum of it. They've got like some Hindu like temples in the middle, and I think they even have some Muslim temples, and then they even have a Hindu shrine in there, which is like a huge thing because Golconda is Muslim, and Muslims and Hindus don't get along, and so it's like a huge diplomatic thing for there to actually be a Hindu shrine in the Muslim fort.
Oh wow!
It's a really good groundbreaking thing for them. And we went up in the fort and kind of explored around, met some Indians up there, and then you get up to the very top. The fort's at the top of a mountain in the middle of Hyderabad, and Hyderabad's probably one of the 15 largest cities in the world.
Wow.
I mean, it's every direction you look is massive, massive, massive city, and
God, I can't imagine. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and so you've got a lot of Muslims coming up there because it's a Muslim fort, and so it's like a place to see for Muslims. Like it's a Muslim stronghold, so it's like a place of pride. So there was a bunch of Muslim school kids, and they were all in their long white robes with their little hats, their little blue hats that they were all wearing, so you could tell it was a group of Muslim schoolboys. And you got up to the very top, and there's like a cannon up there. And then I just happened to get there at the time at one of the, they have their call to prayer 5 times a day, and so you just start hearing the calls to prayer going off all around the city, all the loudspeakers with the at the minarets calling you to prayer.
Wow.
And it was just kind of a trip, like just hearing all these, because it's a song, they like sing the call to prayer. I don't know if you ever heard it.
I have not.
Okay, well, you can YouTube it, whatever.
Yeah.
But say you're not going to hum a few bars?
I don't know what they're saying exactly, but you just hear it all around the city, and it's just such a trip just to hear it, because it's like, I'm definitely not in San Francisco right now.
Yeah.
I'm way outside right now. And there was weird acoustics in the fort. There's a spot, like after you get through the main gates, there's like this courtyard, and I think they call it, oh shoot, I don't remember what they call it. They have a name for it. If you Google the Golconda Fort, you can walk in there and you can just talk, and people can hear you all the way at the top of the fort, way far away.
Oh wow!
Because the acoustics just funnel it, and the sound waves just hit just right, and so they used that as like an alarm.
Yeah.
For if people were breaking into the fort, somebody up there would hear it right down there, and then they could direct their fire because they got arrows, and cannons, and stuff.
Oh man, that's so cool! Like,
it is.
We got that spot in Pioneer Square. That
really?
Yeah, dude. Go down to Pioneer Square. There's a spot like over by the Starbucks, and you can tell where it is because there's kind of like a little like mini amphitheater. I put that in quotes, but you can see where it is. It's a little circle, and if you stand there and you speak, you can hear it echo back at you, and you can just speak at normal volume, and you can just hear how loud it is.
Oh, that's a trip.
And yeah, it's fucking bizarre. And I mean, acoustics are just fucking weird.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's cool that they figured that out.
Yeah, I don't know how they figured it out. I mean, they're intelligent. They've had advanced technologies for thousands of years,
right?
More than we even realize, I think. But but we're talking like over 1,000 feet away.
Yeah,
we're talking very long distance.
No, that's wild. Yeah,
and so there'd be people in there yelling, and their friends would be way the hell up on the top of the hill, and we went and explored the market there in Hyderabad, and then my friend he has a friend that he's known there for a very long time that's very well connected in the government. and they threw him a party. They threw my friend a party for his arrival there.
Oh, nice.
And so the one of the princes of Hyderabad was there.
Whoa.
Yeah, member of the royal family. And then the consul general to Turkey was there. And the consul general to Great Britain was there.
Whoa.
And so you address those people as Your Excellency.
Whoa.
Yeah, because it's like official.
Yeah.
You know, so, hey, bro, you know. It's,
Right.
Yes, Your Excellency. No, Your Excellency.
And you were instructed to do so.
Yes.
Oh, wow,
Right.
yeah.
Which, I'm fine with. Whatever.
Yeah, like,
I
fine,
don't care.
yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
And then the prince, he was pretty down-to-earth guy. I just talked to... He was an older guy, like probably in his 60s. I just kind of talked to him for a while. And, like, this guy, we told him, like, how we got to Jaisalmer in the auto rickshaw, which he thought was crazy.
Yeah.
He said he'd only ridden in one maybe once or twice in his life.
Yeah, right?
And these people are so wealthy that they've never worked a day in their life.
Right.
Never. They don't know what work is like. They just do whatever they feel like doing every day. That's what they do. And that's what generations of their family have done. That's all you do.
Right,
They don't work.
Nobility.
They
be
just
rich.
do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so, but he, like, if you just looked at the guy, you wouldn't even have a clue. And so, just met with him, talked with him. I want to go see Turkey now after speaking with the Consul General of Turkey. Istanbul sounds like an amazing city.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go there. He said I should go visit. He says it's very friendly towards Americans. They like Americans. So I want to go check it out. And we actually were in the paper. There was like reporters there and stuff. Like,
Whoa.
like you shake the hands. It's like a political thing, like
No
shake
way.
the hands and smile, and the reporters all take your picture and stuff.
whoa.
And yeah, it was all
trip.
superficial. And then we were in the paper, and I got pictures of us in the paper.
What,
and-
just like Americans have visited?
Well, my friend's friend is somebody who's attached to a very high-ranking person in the government,
Okay.
and so then that person is known by the citizens of Hyderabad. Like, they know who this person was, and so like we went out to eat, and they knew who this person was. And like the chef came out and was
So
talking.
basically, anywhere this person goes is a celebrity
kind of, yes,
event.
exactly.
And then you're there, and they're like, oh, okay.
And these white guys from America. Yeah.
So it kind of was like, and here's the Americans
Yes.
hanging out with
That's basically
this very special person.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we went to this restaurant, and the chef comes out. He, don't even bother with the menu. I'm going to make you
Right.
special dishes, like a 8-course meal of whatever. And
Holy moly.
it was all Gordon Ramsay style. Like
Yeah.
everything was perfect.
Tons of curry.
No, actually, there was a lot of different. Like, it was very different. Like
Yeah.
it was like high, like good cuisine stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we hung out there for a few days, and then we flew from there. We flew back to Bangalore, and we spent a few more days just kind of...
Which is where you started.
Yeah, we started
Yeah.
in Bangalore, spent a few more days just kind of wandering around
Holy shit, we're
Bangalore.
home.
Yeah,
We're back to the start.
back to the start. A few more days wandering around Bangalore. Met back up with some friends that we had met with at the very beginning. Went out to dinner with them a couple of times, hung
Nice.
out, just kind of went back exploring Bangalore a little bit more. And then I took my flight home, which was from Bangalore to London. Yes, London. And then I flew from London to Chicago, and then Chicago to Portland. And it was like
Jeez.
26, 27 hours coming back.
Which
Gross.
probably felt like a million when you're just dying to get home, right?
Yeah, it felt long. Like, London
Yeah.
wasn't, like, once I got to London wasn't so bad because it was like, I want to say like 5 or 6 hours to fly from Bangalore to London. It wasn't so bad.
Sure.
And then I went to the United Lounge there, which was super nice. Like, they got showers, they got bunks,
there you go.
they got free food, free booze. Like, that was
Fucking
great.
nice.
Yeah, so I just
Right
hung
on.
out, waited for my next flight. And then I got to Chicago, and then it was back to like rude people.
Yeah.
Just like angry, rude.
Like, wait a second, there aren't fucking people waiting like hand and foot.
No.
Wait, what's this? Fucking shit costs money again?
Yeah, and it's Chicago. It's O'Hare. Fly to O'Hare.
Oh,
They're not even into you at all. And I had to go through customs there. Coming back in. But it's like I wasn't smuggling anything, so I wasn't too worried about customs.
Bring us any hash?
Keistered some. No, and then got back to Portland, and it was interesting because it was my friend had said trips are real high, like going on these adventures are a huge high.
Yeah,
and so you're going to experience low when you get back.
Right,
like you've got to come back down. And boy, was he right. It was like I got back and it was kind of tough to reacclimate. I mean, I had a massive jet lag when I got back.
Yeah. Did you take some extra time off before you went back to work?
I took a day off and then I went back to work.
Fucking hell, dude. That's not the move.
I got back Saturday, took Sunday off, went back to work on Monday.
Oh.
I'm kind of a workaholic.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy what I do.
And that's great. You still should probably take 3 days to just lounge, veg, whatever, catch up on your shows.
No, I took one
catch
day.
up on your stories.
Yeah. No,
I always take vacation after my vacation.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even a vacation because of the way we were traveling.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You're so fucking worn out that you actually need time to recuperate.
Yeah, but it was I was back, and a week later I broke up with my girlfriend.
Oh, shit.
And it was very abrupt, and it was just but it was I'd had this month of just assessing things. We'd been together for over a year. Yeah. And it was just assess the situation, and it was time to be real and honest with myself, and I'm like, no, this isn't the right person, this isn't the right thing for me. So I got back.
That's intense. I mean, you grew so much in such a short period of time, right? That kind of experience is... It's immeasurable for what you got out of it. Yeah.
So it was that was kind of it. And it was when I woke up that morning, I was not expecting to go through a breakup.
Yeah.
But by that evening, it was okay, I'm done. And I'm out. And I'm on my way. And so.
Fair enough.
Down the road.
Man, that's cool as hell. So, okay. So we've gone super long.
Yep. Sorry.
So I won't belabor our listeners or anyone else too much. I think my co-host is turning into a pumpkin as we speak.
Yeah, my skin is orange and...
But I have to ask, are you going back for the Himalaya run? And when are you doing that? And can I come?
I would, yes. I have not purchased the tickets at this point. Yeah. I've been on another overseas adventure since that trip.
Right. Which we'll hear about.
We can address another time.
No, let's just get right into it. Let's just do it right now. For another 3 hours. Let's do it.
No, for real though. Yes, I want to do that Himalaya Rickshaw run. I am going to do that Himalaya Rickshaw run, and then once I do that one, I'll probably do the Sri Lanka Rickshaw run just to complete the trifecta. So
sweet,
love it.
That sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the Sri Lanka one, man.
Sri Lanka's only a week.
I'm in for that.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you're looking for a couple, a couple podcasters,
if you need somebody to help you smoke your hash in foreign countries.
Yeah, a couple out of shape, non-mechanic podcasters who will be super useful the whole way through.
Dude, we'll feed Gundam monkeys.
Dude, that would be a riot, for real.
We could do a travel log though. It'd be awesome.
And
oh my god!
And honestly, the thing that makes the best adventure partner is the attitude of the person you're traveling with.
Oh yeah, totally,
absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a really good partner to do this run with. Yeah, this fucking trip sounds amazing, man. It really inspires me to want to go just take some crazy ass trip, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to go to India, but
they've got a lot of adventures. If you want to look up any of them or all of them, you could go to the Adventurists, ADVENTUREISTS, Adventurists.com.
They pay by letter.
Yeah, right.
We should ask them if they know about adventure sizing because
right,
we could add a whole new element to their program.
Dude, fucking bring some LSD into this?
Yes, indeed.
All right, adventuresizing.com. I am taking that right now.
We'll just delete that.
Yeah. No, this sounds fucking rad, man. Thanks for coming to tell this story, dude.
Absolutely.
Fucking A, man.
Thanks for hearing me.
Yeah.
Bye.